All right. Hello, everybody. I'm just getting everything set up here on our live. Super excited to be here with you guys today. And we are talking about ways to increase your revenue per hour per room. It's more specifically, three ways that we're going to be talking to you about how to increase that very, very important metric. So let me just make sure that I am coming up live here in the Facebook group. I want to make sure. Yep, there we go. Okay, love it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides, and we're going to jump right into this training. There we go. Nice and big. Okay, love it. Good morning, Kara. Okay. Perfect. So how to increase your hourly revenue in 3 simple ways. So what we're going to cover specifically today is the KPI, revenue per hour per room. That's a really, really important one. There's a lot of KPIs that we can track. There's thousands of KPIs, but we want to look at what is making the biggest difference to us in our business. And what I'm hearing right now, the kind of comments, concerns, vibe of the industry, if you will, is we need more money. We need more profit. We need more revenue per hour per room. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to go through this with you today. So what is that KPI in general? And then we're going to talk about upgrades. We're going to talk about timing efficiencies, and we're going to talk about retail sales. All right. So for those of you that are new to our world, my name is Daniela. I'm the founder and CEO of Addo Aesthetics. We are a coaching and consulting company that specializes in strategy and systems for aesthetic professionals. We are moving into 10 years in Addo Aesthetics, which is incredible. We're going to have to do something fun to celebrate that. But in those past 10 years, I have consulted with 11-figure brands. I've created trainings that are now in 80 countries around the world. We have built a 7-figure company with a team of 18, most of those being military spouses, or quite a few of those being military spouses. So we move around quite a bit. We have helped our clients generate millions in revenue, which I'm super, super proud of. I've moved 12 times. I'm a military spouse myself. And so that is, always a fun journey. And I have birthed 2 babies. So, all right. Hello, Megan. Good morning. Okay. We also host a podcast. We've got over 350 episodes. We are in the top 50. We last year actually hit number 14 out of 11,000 in the marketing category. So that was a really incredible accomplishment. We have a combination of inspiring, motivational guests mixed with straight to the point strategy. So check us out anywhere that you listen to your podcast. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into what is revenue per hour per room. So this KPI is the amount of revenue that each room produces during your hours of operation. So for example, if you're open 10 to 6, which is 8 hours of operation, and you've got 3 treatment rooms in your spa, and you generated $4,000 in revenue for the day, here's how we would calculate revenue per hour per room. You would take that $4,000 and you would divide it by the 8 hours in that workday, which equals 500. Now, it's important to note that this calculation is done based on the hours that you're open and available to see clients. So even if you're open 10 to 6, you're open those full 8 hours, but you only have 4 of those hours booked, you're still doing the calculation divided by 8, divided by the possible hours that you could get filled. Okay. So now that I know that the spa is doing 500 an hour, well, we have 3 treatment rooms. So the next step is to divide that 500 by 3, which is going to give you 166.67. So that is what your actual revenue per hour per room is. When we're using revenue per hour per room to set a goal, I like to increase it by about 20%. So if I were saying, and I'm going to show you guys the sample spreadsheet here in just a minute, or let me actually, because we can look at these revenue per hour per room as a way to set our goals of what we actually need to hit. And we can also, well, let me just show you with the spreadsheet. It'll be easier when you guys can see a visual. It always, always, always is, especially with numbers. All right. So if I'm looking at, I'm open 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, and I have 3 treatments or 3 treatment rooms, and I want to do $1 million in revenue, my revenue per hour per room is 166.67, that magical number that we were looking at. So this is a great way to say, all right, what am I actually calculating? So if you have that $4,000 day, what am I actually, like, if I did this every day, I would be on track to have $1 million spa as long as I'm open 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I've got my 3 treatment rooms and we hit that revenue per hour per room. So this really helps you to calculate. Oh yeah. Someone's saying, can I make it larger? And if you're having trouble with your Zoom, I would just hit refresh. Okay. Is that easier to see? Let me look here. I can even make it a little bit bigger. Let's try. I think that should work. Yeah. And I'll just, I think it needs to be 175 because you're not seeing the actual calculation there. Okay. So very good. All right. So over here with this spreadsheet, and if you registered for this training, you will have this spreadsheet sent to you. If you don't have this, then just comment below and my team will DM it to you. So over here, this spreadsheet, if you say, well, hey, I'm open 12 hours a day. I do 9 to 9. I do split shift. Then I can change this and it's going to automatically calculate, well, if you're open 12 hours a day, then your revenue per hour per room only needs to be 111.11, which for those of you that are into numerology, that's a magic number right there. And then you can play around with, what is my goal? You may know, hey, I want to do 1.5 million. And so I want to understand what my, let's see, is that 1.5? Yes. So if I wanted to do 1.5 and I'm open that many, that brings it right back up to that 166.67. So a lot of ways that you can play around with this, but when we're looking at KPIs and we're talking about how do you can't, what you don't measure, you can't manage, right? So we've got to make sure that we are measuring this on a daily basis. And I also think it's really challenging to say, if I were saying to a spa CEO, could you do 1.5 in a year? That might feel big and heavy and overwhelming. But if I said to a spa CEO, could you do an average of 166.67 revenue per hour per room? You would have to look at, what are the prices of my services? But can I do that and this is in combination with retail as well. Okay. So really important to keep that in mind. All right. I'm going to go back to my slides and let's go back to present here because that makes it nice and big for you guys. There we go. All right. So the spreadsheet is a really great tool to help you have a revenue benchmark for each room in your spa. But if you're not hitting that revenue per hour per room metric that you want, you first have to figure out what that is. We're going to talk about 3 ways right now that you can actually increase that number. The first is upgrades. Now, how many of you guys here, we've got few of you guys here on the live, which is great. How many of you guys here are regularly offering upgrades to your clients and patients? It's something that even an upgrade of $5 to $10 can make a huge difference. Now, what are examples of upgrades? This can be aromatherapy. This can be cupping. This can be masks. This can be dermaplaning. This can be wax or tint. This can be eye masks, LED, cryotherapy, Think about all of these different pieces that we can incorporate into increasing that revenue per hour per room. We're not going to be increasing time, but we're going to increase the dollar amount that that room is going to produce. So let's see, on average, you're seeing 5 clients per day, 5 days per week, 50 weeks per year. If each day you just had 2 of those clients do a $30 upgrade, that would add $15,000 in revenue to your business without adding any extra work. And the great thing is that a lot of those upgrades, especially if you're doing LED or cryo or anything like that, there's not a consumable cost. So that 15,000 of additional revenue is pure profit for you. Okay. So again, that's without extending hours, without hiring additional employees, or without any additional marketing cost. So it's really a benefit. We want to make sure that we are optimizing every single patient when they are in our rooms, on our table. How can we optimize and really increase that revenue per hour per room that they are there? Now, when do you actually make the ask? And for me, in my opinion, it's always in the beginning before you're really experiencing a service. And the question that I really, really love is asking that patient, how would you like to experience your service? And, there's the small talk when you're walking them to the room, when you're, reiterating, here's the service that I have you booked for. Let me know your concerns. Does this still sound great? Yes, you're booked for the right service, going through the whole confirming that they have the right thing on the books. I would then, as you're cleansing or as you're consulting with them before you really let them get into the zone, how would you like to experience your service today? Do you want me to explain everything as I'm going step by step? Or would you like to zone out and I can give you my observations or my recommendations at the end of the service? I don't know about you, but I am somebody who really likes to just zone out. That is my time. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to really experience and go inward and practice self-care when I am receiving a service. It's not that I don't adore the person or individuals that are working on me. It's just that is my time. And so if someone's talking to me the whole time, I am not going to experience the service in the way that I want to. So in doing that mini consult that can take 3 minutes, right, to reiterate that they're getting the right service, you can also let them know, perhaps when they're cleansing, here's the additional things that I think would really benefit and help you reach your goals. Would you like me to add any of those on today? Really popular one, people always do stuff for eyes and lips. So if you have some sort of eye mask or lip mask or anything like that, it's a great upgrade. People also, I think, especially around holidays, love those really bougie algae masks and stuff like that. It's a fun experience. I think in holiday time, we do get a lot of individuals who perhaps wouldn't treat themselves to a spa day, but they're really splurging a little bit more than they would before. Good. I'm seeing some people saying, yes, I love the upgrades. All right. Okay. So your action item, I want you to identify your 3 upgrades and your top 3 upgrades. And I want you to offer one or some combination of them to every single client who comes in the door for the next 2 weeks. Now, I want you to track how many clients actually take you up on it and use that number to estimate the amount of additional revenue that you can bring into your practice over the next year. A goal would be that you have a minimum of a 25% conversion rate, meaning that if you offer it to 4 different patients, at least one of them will take you up on that upgrade. Okay. That for me is a winning goal. We obviously want to get it more than that, but at a starting point, at a baseline, that's the first number that we should be hitting. Is we want at least 25% of our patients that we are making this upgrade recommendation to take us up on that. Okay. All right. So let's move into scheduling efficiencies. And this is really eye-opening as well if we're wanting to increase that revenue per hour per room. So a lot of times what I see with, especially with solos or solos who maybe have one other provider, or they don't have a front desk yet. They're scheduling sometimes 30 minutes in between clients to check them out, to, chart, to whatever they need to do to turn over the room. I want to show you what a drastic change timing can make on the spa capacity calculator. Okay. This is one of our favorite spreadsheets. This one is inside of Growth Factor. This is not one that we gift for free, but I want to show you what information this gives you. And specifically, I want you to really pay attention to the timing. So what we're looking at here is, if you're open 8 hours a day, if you take a 30-minute lunch break or a 0.5, half-hour lunch break, you have 3 rooms available, you work 5 days a week, you're open 50 weeks a year, you can do a facial. It's 60 minutes. This would technically be a 50-minute facial with a 10-minute turnover time. So we're including that turnover time as well. Okay. Whoops. Then our retail price is $109. The consumable cost is $7. And then your payroll cost is $18. This is assuming that we're paying our provider $18 per hour. And so this is an hour service, so they're going to get $18. So this is saying that if we were to only do facials for the entire year for all available appointments, the maximum amount of treatments that we could do is this, the maximum amount of revenue that we could make is this, and the maximum amount of profit we could make just from these services. This is obviously not set in stone. This is something that you're going to sell retail. You're going to have a combination of other services. But just to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, if we were to go all in with facials or all in with specialty or all in with enzyme or all in with microneedling, look at the differences in these profits. Okay. So microneedling is clearly triple the profit and the big winner. Facials max profit you're making is $472. Specialty facial is $540. Enzyme peel is $504. And this is the one I really want to highlight, because look at the time here. You can look at this and say, well, an enzyme peel is $299 and the consumable cost is $30. So, wow, that should be what I should really focus on, because it has a lower consumable cost than the specialty facial, and the price is significantly lower, $159 to $299. However, the enzyme peel, the difference is the enzyme peel takes 2 hours. The specialty facial takes 60 minutes. So if I am looking at over here, if I'm looking at what am I going to focus on, I'm going to make potentially $36,000 less doing a service that cost more than $100 than this one and has a lower consumable. This is why we need to look at the data to make database decisions. Same thing over here. If I'm looking at the enzyme peel compared to microneedling, these two have the same retail cost, and microneedling actually costs $20 more than the enzyme peel. However, the profit is 3 times as much, and that all goes down to the timing, the scheduling efficiencies. A difference in 1.7 million compared to 504, it all comes down to the timing. So very, very important to really understand what it's costing you to have those extra breaks, additional breaks in your timing. All right, let me take a look here. Make sure I'm seeing all of the comments. Very good, very good. All right. So now I am going to go back to our slides. Let me present this. All right. So as you can see, as long as you have a steady lead flow, shortening the timing and bringing on a front desk can really help you to get ahead. And that is something that the way that that increases revenue per hour per room, you clearly, by shortening the timing in between services, you have the ability to add additional services to generate additional revenue that will not only pay for you to have a front desk, but will also, again, increase the overall revenue that you're bringing into the practice, the overall capacity that you have to bring into the practice. Okay, so for action items here, review the timings of your services offered. Where do you need to tighten it up? So really looking at, if I'm doing a 60-minute service, can I make that 50 minutes and have a 10-minute turnover? If I'm doing, an 80-minute service, can I, just block out 90 minutes and do it actually as 80 minutes? And again, having that 10-minute turnover. We really there are front desks that can help with checkout. You can hire support to help turn over the rooms and help sanitize the rooms. We really want to make sure that we are paying attention to scheduling efficiencies in our services. All right. And last but not least, retail sales. This is probably the lowest hanging fruit, one of the easiest ways to increase revenue per hour per room. So let's say that your goal is 200 per hour per room and your average service is $149. You literally only need to sell one product to push you over that line. Okay. So I'm a big believer in making the entire home care recommendation for a patient. I find it really salesy to recommend something new every time that someone comes in. And so for me, it's a patient will come in, they haven't purchased any products from us. I'm going to recommend the entire regimen. And that might be a $500, $600, $700 sale, depending on the product line that I'm carrying. I mean, I've had product sales that were $1,200, right? When we're really getting into some specialty products and all of that. That is a really important, that $1,200 or $500 or whatever the home care regimen cost is going to spread out over the entire day. So if we look at our average is $149 of our service, but then we have two people that we had incredible retail sales with, that's really going to boost. And remember, that is not taking any additional time. That's just increasing that revenue per hour per room. Okay. So really, really important. And the other piece there too is once you get people on home care regimens and then they do repeat purchases, you will have people, especially if you have e-com available to them, that makes it a lot easier. Or if you have your providers actually following up and, anticipating their needs before their products actually run out, those retail sales can come in even when you don't have a patient coming in to get a service. And that can be something also that really helps pull you through when you have a cancellation or you have a gap in the schedule or something where you're like, wow, it's going to be a challenge. It's possible. It's always possible, but it's going to be a challenge to hit our daily goals. That's when you get on the phone and you start making those retail sales. You start doing the calls for your patients that haven't been in. Maybe you have quarterly patients that come in, but they're obviously going to run out of their product before, the 3-month timeline. Get them to purchase the product, offer them free shipping, really get strategic in how you're making sure that every day, no matter what, you are hitting that specific revenue per hour per room goal. Okay, I think that I addressed this. So this doesn't mean that you'll have some patients purchase large home care packages, but the next patient may not purchase anything. That's normal. That's okay. I think with home care in general, having a philosophy that you can follow can help in making the recommendations. So if any of you are familiar with Skin Medica's grass theory, this came out years and years ago. And GRAS dairy stands for growth factors, retinoids, antioxidants, specialty products, and sunscreen. And so it really helps you to have a framework to say, all right, does every patient that I see, do they have a growth factor product? Does every patient that I see have a retinoid? Does every patient that I see have an antioxidant? Do they have a specialty product based on their needs? Do they need extra hydration as we're moving into winter? Do they have pigmentation that they're wanting to get a brightening product, right? So what is the customization piece in here? And then obviously, do they have a sunscreen? That's massively important. But especially as you're building a practice and have multiple providers, you want to make sure that they're getting the same recommendation regardless of who they see. So that can be something that I think is super important. Let me just see. Kara has a question here. We find out what our product line is going up to in January, so numbers will change. Okay, so are you, Kara, increasing your prices of your product line, or are the prices getting increased by the company? That would be my question. Okay, in retail sales, ensure you're using the voice of an expert and setting the products in front of them on the counter or in the retail area with step-by-step instructions on how to use. So I actually would take the entire home care regimen. I would say, here's your AM, and it would be their toner, their antioxidant, their hydration product, their moisturizer, their sunscreen. And I would literally write on the box, AM step 1, AM step 2, AM step 3, AM step 4, and go through. And then I would do the same thing for PM so that they can actually have a visual. And my voice would be not like, so what do you think? Do you want to get these today? It would be, these are the products that I want you to use. Here is what I want you to do in the AM. Here's how you're going to use this product. Here's how you apply it. Here's what I want you to do in the PM. Every other night, I want you to alternate this. I've got all the instructions written out here. I'm going to be calling you in 2 days just to check in, see how everything's going. We may need to make a couple little tweaks as you're starting a new home care regimen, but I'm going to be right here beside you, making sure that we're getting this customized exactly to your skin's needs. So it's really leading there and really saying, yes, you're hiring me as the expert. You came to me to understand how to reach your skincare goals, and I'm going to show up and do my part. Right? That's the energy that we're bringing to it. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks, what I want to challenge you guys to is committing to recommending the entire home care regimen to every single patient that comes in. So make sure that you're doing your research on what products they've purchased in the past and ensure that they are fully stocked. I want you to commit to yourself, guys. You are doing this for yourself. Whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur, making the home care recommendations is going to benefit your patient. They're going to get better results. That's just a statement of fact. If they are using good quality products, they will get better results. Okay, so thank you guys. I'm going to look at the question or the comments here in a second. If anybody is interested in learning more about the programs or resources that we offer here at Addo Aesthetics or working with us on a deeper level, I want you to comment growth below and my team will reach out to you. We're actually going to start doing these weekly business boosts with Daniela, with me, every single week, every single Wednesday at 11. We've got some really great topics coming up. So every week it's going to be a more formalized training that we are going to be going through, teaching you about KPIs, teaching you about really specific things in the spa world. So I'm excited to hang out with you. I'm excited to do that with you. And now I'm going to go over and look at these questions. All right. So Kara says, Epicurean is upping their prices, so I have to change my price on facials as well. And Kara, actually, increasing your prices, especially at the end of the year, is just standard practice. I think that every single spa owner should be increasing by 2 to 5% every single year just to cover inflation. And inflation is exactly this, right? Inflation is exactly every organization, product companies, whatever, they're going to be increasing their prices. So if they're increasing their prices and you're not, then you are losing profit. So it's a really important piece to make sure that once you have your prices where they should be, and we look at that, we have a resource inside of Growth Factor called your cost of treatment and profitability tracker. And this is really letting us know our margins on a service so that we understand what's the consumable cost and then what is the payroll cost. And we have set goals. We want those margins to be somewhere between 60 to 80%, but we really want them closer to 80. It's just certain services you can't, like, for example, a hydrofacial, great service. People love it. Incredible name recognition, but it's going to cost you about $40 in consumable cost, in addition to payroll. And that's just assuming that your providers are going to be using the proper amount of the serums, right? So there's a rule of 10% where we say we want the consumable cost to never be more than 10% of the service, which would mean that if a hydrofacial is costing you $40, you would want the retail price to be $400. And that's just not the name of the game. That's just not how it works. And so for those other services that we do tend to have like higher profit margins, dermaplaning, microneedling, things like that, we want to make sure those services are, even higher than 80 to really kind of cover those lower ones as well. But really using these spreadsheets to help you understand, it's making data-based decisions rather than emotional decisions. It can bring you light years ahead in your business. Okay, so let's see here. Where did my questions go? Christine is saying upgrades take extra time. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. A lot of times if you're doing, let's say that you're adding LED, you could add LED during the mask portion. So you're kind of combining and layering them. If you're adding cryo, doing cryo sticks, you could incorporate that into the massage. Aromatherapy can be done throughout. So you want to really look at how can you shift and adjust to not add extra time. Some of these will add maybe 15 minutes, depending on what it is that you're adding. But really, again, looking at the math of like, if I increase it by this much, what additional revenue is that going to bring in for me? All right. Happy holidays and perfect. Looking forward to the Wednesday trainings. Christine is saying ideas for obtaining clients to keep the room busy. There's a lot of there's a lot of marketing strategies that we can do. I would suggest going through some of our podcast episodes. We've got over 350 episodes. There's episodes in there that are talking about our Facebook group strategy, that are talking about, behind the scenes. Actually, the episode that's up right now is about this gal, Sam, who's in Growth Factor. She just joined. She just hit her 6th month this month, actually. And she did events. We have a lot of people that have a lot of success with events. Whether it's a mini event, like a peel party type of thing, or more of an open house. But I would search through our 350 episodes and look at, there's numerous strategies in there to help you get more clients in the door. I would say the advice that I have is get out there and be the mayor of your town. Get out there and get involved in your community. It's not all going to happen behind your computer. It's really the value. Like what I see so much right now is people showing up at Chamber of Commerce, showing up at BNI events, showing up at, there's a lot of different holiday parties. Like for instance, our lawyers for our company just had a holiday party. A lot of times I don't go to those types of things. But I thought, you know what, this is going to be a great networking event. Also great to kind of reiterate and rebuild that relationship with our attorneys who have helped us obviously tremendously in the past year with opening the new company at a wellness institute. So I'm really trying to push myself to get out there and meet more people and be the mayor of my town. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing as well, because that is how you really get to know other individuals. That's how you build relationships. That's how you meet potential strategic partners. Lots and lots of potential in just getting out there, which is scary. It's out of your comfort zone, but a lot of times that's where the real magic happens. All right. Ira says, looking forward to the Wednesday trainings. Yes, they're at 11 Eastern time. Or Mary Catherine says, when is the trainings? 11 Eastern time. Perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending your time here with me. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week.